Hey, so it's a beautiful day outside, nice and sunny, and today is like typically, beginning of the week, hard push day. Monday is often just kind of getting yourself together and getting ready for the week, right? Catching up on stuff that piled up over the weekend. So Tuesday is a great day to really push forward on that big project. Hey, Jillian. Hey, Gabriel. Today I'm going to talk about the biggest lie that we get sold and what it does to us. What is this biggest lie? And we are seeing it happen everywhere these days. And it's always all throughout history. This lie has been the lie that every time we have had a mass of atrocities, humanitarian atrocities, Hitler, Stalin. There really doesn't matter what's going on in our own political parties, right? It's the same lie. It's the same lie that everyone uses. And what is that lie? The lie is it's for the greater good, or the end justifies the means. That's the lie, right? Anytime we say, well, we get to violate our principles, we get to violate these principles because the end justifies the means, because we're trying to get to somewhere better or good for people, then that is the biggest lie that creates harm and violation. Look at what's happening right now in America, right? This stuff is happening all over the world, but look at what's happening right now in America, where we say, you have these different political parties that have been at war, right? And I have friends on both sides of the political spectrum, okay? And on one side, they're saying, well, they did this gerrymandering and stuff to get their party elected. Now on the other side, they're saying, well, they violated the voting process and they, stuffed ballot boxes or whatever it is, right? That they somehow violated the voting process. Now, I know people who would say, you know what? Well, we don't want to have this horrible tyrant in power. So we are justified to violate the voting process in order to make sure that people like that don't take power, right? Or we are justified to lay down rules that violate people's individual rights as to what they want to have put in their body, right? Or we are justified to lie to the public to get them to put something in their body, to take something that we are not quite sure about, and we don't know what all the repercussions are, because we think this is going to be better for society overall. Okay? Anytime you're hearing this lie that the end justifies the means, anytime someone is saying that, this is what they have used to suppress women, to violate, to murder, to kill, they've the entire process of what happened in China, right? And mass famine, the Stalin killed millions of people. Hitler, right? What was he trying to do? He had the same argument. The end justifies the means. That was his argument. And all of these dictators, all of these people who committed horrible atrocities, every one of them believed they were doing it for the greater good. Hey, good morning, Suleiman. Nice to see you. Every one of them believed it in their hearts. They truly thought, I am doing this for the good of my people. I am doing this for the good of my nation, right? What is the difference between what's happening today? What is the difference between what's happening today with people who are insisting that other people have to do certain things, take certain things, violate people's bodies, violate their rights as far as what they are, their workplace, etc., because they're saying the end justifies the means. Okay? Because they're saying, well, this is going to be better for society overall. We don't know that, actually. We don't know where these different things are going, right? And anytime your government comes in and allows people to violate your principles, violate the principles of your body, right? Force you to do things with your body, force you to take things with your body. This is why the Jehovah's Witnesses are so strong against that in their beliefs. They do not want some government telling them what they have to put in their body, right? Whether that's blood or anything else. It is because that's a violation of your right to choose, okay? And when they take away your other rights based on that, then that is a huge, huge issue, right? So what I'm trying to say here is that this same lie that we accept, you watch yourself, you will accept it all over the place. You won't even realize you're accepting it because we have been so trained to accept it that the end justifies the means. We all know if someone says the end justifies the means, we know that that's not correct. But if someone says it's for the greater good, that's exactly the same thing. It means exactly the same thing. They say, well, we're going to violate this because it's for the greater good. That is end justifies the means. And you see good people, people who think of themselves as good people, people who think of themselves as moral and as caring and as supportive of society and as wanting to take care of, the homeless and the underdog. And these people have these ideals, these big, beautiful ideals, right, of what they want the world to look like. But when you allow that lie in, you say, well, we should get to do this because we want to protect people and we know best and we're going to protect people. So we're going to force them to do what we want them to do. Or we're not going to tell them the truth. We're going to tell them a lie to manipulate them into doing what we want them to do. It's the same thing. Same thing. Okay. So that's what I want to talk about today, because it's just so frustrating to see this all over the world and see people's eyes so blinded to it. So please, do not let that be you. When you see people trying to force other people to do what they want, saying that this is for the good of the whole, just remember that every great atrocity from Hitler to Stalin to, the Romans to China massacring the Uyghurs, it's all coming from the same place. It's all coming from this concept that the end justifies the means. All right. And we do not want to allow that in. And that is what is helping to destroy the things in our own country. There are so many things in America, so many laws in place and institutions in place that we all know are violative, that we all know violate our rights. And yet they were put in place with that concept. The end justifies the means. That's how they were sold to the public. That's how they were sold to the public, and that is how they continue to be supported and to gather support from the public. So don't let that happen to you. Recognize anytime somebody is violating one of these principles, anytime somebody is trying to take away your property right in your body, your creations, your right to make contract, clear deal. What happens in that right to make a contract? You have to have a clear understanding of exactly what it is you are trading. If I say, I agree to take this into my body, if I go to the doctor, right, and I have a medication, they have to tell me what it is. They have to tell me all the possible consequences of what that can do. And if they don't, they get in trouble. Now, lawyers have created a lot of weaselly ways to get around it by making it in teeny tiny print or whatever, so that people can't even bother reading it. All right. But if they do not clearly state the possibilities of what's going to happen to me, what possible side effects are going to be, then I do not have the ability to make that decision. They recognize I don't have the ability to make a clear and free and full and willing decision to take something into my body, right? That is a false exchange because there is a lie involved in it, or there's a lie of not telling me the full truth involved in it. So these are the principles that are violated every day in so many of our institutions, right? But we see that just exploding out of control right now because of fear. And they are able to use fear to get people to give up their rights, okay? But it's not just giving up their rights. They're taking the right, okay? And the other people are standing around saying, well, we don't really care about this right, so that's fine. You can go and, persecute and abuse other people who do care about this right, because we don't really care about the right. And, frankly, we want everyone to do this too, because we also believe in this greater good argument. See, that's when you really start losing your country and you're losing the population, when we have so many people that are buying into this. And when people buy into this and they say, well, okay, it doesn't matter if we cheat the system a bit. It doesn't matter if we stuff ballot boxes. It doesn't matter if we do these things because we don't want this greater, more terrible evil to be in place or to be in power, right? However they justify it to themselves. That is false. That is a false premise. You cannot violate these principles and have a moral society which does not violate other people. When you violate these principles, you are violating other people. You are violating their property rights. That is it, 100%. Doesn't matter how you try to dress it up and put lipstick on it. So that's what I wanted to say today. I hope that you all look around you and you see anytime people are using that argument, it's for the greater good. We all should do this for the greater good. Everybody should be made to do this for the greater good, right? Then you recognize that is the entry point. That is where the violation is coming in. And, on the other hand, we do want to be responsible citizens. We do want to recognize what our actions create around us, right? On both ends. If you're sick, you should wear a mask and cover up your face or stay home, right? You need to recognize the impact and take responsibility for your impact on other people. Hey, Alexis. So it goes both ways, but violating people's rights based on this greater good concept always leads to atrocities. It always leads to abuse, 100% of the time. Okay, so it goes both ways. We take responsibility, we claim our right, we have these rights, we do not let people violate our rights, and we hope, we try to create a better government that does not violate our rights. And at the same time, we are each taking responsibility for ourselves and for our impact on the world. That is what this ring is about, right? That is what this ring is about. That's what each of these rings are about. It is both property rights and responsibilities, right? We claim the right and we take responsibility for our impact in the world. So if that means we are doing something that's going to be likely to cause a lot of issues, right? This is why you don't dump toxic wastes out, right? Because you have to take responsibility for your impact on the world and everything else. This is what we want to understand about these principles. They don't just go one way. And when both sides are fulfilling this bargain, then we live in a good, happy society that doesn't violate other people. But right now, we have governments, we have leaders, we have so many people supporting it, creating a mass violation towards other people, right? Creating this thing where they're saying you have to do this, you have to do that. We're going to take away your income. We're going to fire you from your job if you're not willing to put the substance in your body that hasn't even been properly tested yet, right? It's one thing to make that available to everybody, to give people full information. You cannot make a decision, you cannot make a medical decision without full information. If they do not have full information, then forcing someone to do something without full information is just an incredible violation. Incredible violation. I mean, in China, they used to take women who would come in to give birth and they would sterilize them automatically without their permission, okay? Because they said, well, there's a one-child policy, so if you've already had one child, boom, we're going to sterilize you. And they were doing this all over the place. This was just common, all right? How would you feel if you went in to have a baby and you walked out sterilized? That is a massive violation. And yet they said, this is for the greater good of our country, because if we keep it expanding and growing at this rate, then we're not going to, the country's going to go under. It's going to have famine. We're not going to be able to economically develop. And probably right, okay? But it still doesn't justify forced sterilization of millions of women. There's always another way. There is always another way that does not breach these rights. And if we'd actually been training people from the beginning in school about these rights and about responsibilities, instead of coddling them like babies and just teaching them to obey, and just letting them, not suffer the consequences of their decisions as children, we may actually have mature adults who could make decisions instead of authority addicts who just need to be told, who just end up following whatever they're getting told what to do. But of course, that's not what they really want, right? That does not make it people easy to govern if they are free thinkers and think for themselves and actually analyze things. Certainly doesn't make easy for marketers to sell to either, right? So both the commerce side and the governmental side is not for us actually thinking for ourselves and training people to take responsibility and to understand their rights. But that is why we need to do it. So share this, spread this, get it out there, because this is such an important message that we need to talk about. The greater good argument is the argument that was used to justify the greatest, most horrific violations in history, including, the Holocaust, right? And the destruction of the gypsies and all of these different ethnic groups that they were supposedly trying to purge out so that there would be a clean ethnic master race, right? All of that was supposed to be for the greater good. It's horrific. That is where that argument leads. And that is why it has to be stomped out. That is why it has to be stopped. So I hope you have a good day. I hope that this helps to open your eyes to what has been going on, and that you see it all the time. It's happening on both sides, on every side. It's not just happening in one group, okay? It's happening all over the place. And this concept, the allowance of this concept, people not telling the full truth because they think they know what's best for other people, all of this, that is the huge violation that is happening in our society today and all over the world. So I hope that you can be a voice for it, speak up against this, and show people the clarity of what are the real principles to be followed. The principles of property rights in our body and self-ownership, and the responsibility that we each have for the impact of our lives and on this world. Have a great day. Bye.